Second part, and actually we would like to go into interaction with you, and to stimulate that interaction we asked two entrepreneurs to give a bit of their entrepreneurial story to you, what they have been doing to make a business and how this business is running, how they make money with it, but also maybe some other aspects. And then those two, I will introduce them shortly to you. We'll do that, and after that you can ask questions about, okay, whatever you would like to know, what a real entrepreneur experiences when they make business. Any question you have, you can ask. I'm not promising that every question will be answered, but they will try. So the first is Jordi Hillenga, and he's a really young entrepreneur. He's now 18, but when you started, I think you were 17 or so. So that's young. And he is still on high school?
Yes, second year.
Yeah. So, and he came across in France some pizza vending machines. And he liked pizzas, I assume. So he thought, well, this will be a success in the Netherlands instead of a croquette. So he flew to the factory in France to negotiate the sole rights to introduce the machine in the Netherlands. And actually he did this, and the first machine was unveiled in Groningen in November 2015 at a Jumbo supermarket in the Euroborg. And Jordi plans to introduce him across the country and abroad. That's your introduction, so please.
Firstly, welcome, nice to meet you. And I want to say apologize. I could not speak English very well with you guys, so I'm still doing secondary school. But welcome, my name is Jordi Hillenga, and I have a pizza vending machine. Now, do you like pizza or not? Yes. After this evening, I have for everybody pizza. So yeah. I'm joking, but you see, pizza. Everybody loves pizza. So that's the reason why I start a pizza vending machine. So it's an example. Yeah, sorry, I tell you. But everybody loves pizza, and I thought that I need a pizza vending machine. Not only I, but also you. So you could order 4 pizzas in 4 minutes. Yeah, and you can pay contactless. So only with your credit card or something like that. So no with cash. Because there are some people in Groningen and they whoop, money go. So, but for example, you can only pay with credit card and contactless. And does anyone know something about the vending machine? Did you see it on the media or Facebook?
I saw it on Facebook.
Okay. And he's the only one, or?
Yeah, me too.
A few more. Welcome in 2060, where you see everything on the media, but also on Facebook. So please check your Facebook off, because it's very popular on the social media. Maybe you see me on the television or hear me about in the radio. That's also possible. But I'm still, I'm young, and now I see you, and you don't have a lot of experience with entrepreneurship. So I would like explain more about my company and also about my qualities and etc. So do you have any question for me to start? One question. You.
How did you, maybe a little bit too far in depth, but how did you get the agreement with Jumbo to put it in their store?
Yes, my mother works for Jumbo.
Oh.
Yes, it's own Jumbo, so it's very easy. Yeah, that is the, so you need to have a good, great network, so thanks, Mom.
How did you start? You started with one pizza machine, I guess?
Yes.
So you invested money in this one pizza machine, and then, how did you found it? Your parents helped you, and you had savings. How did you, was it expensive or not? How did you do it?
Yes, it was expensive. First I did animation work, so with little children and dancing and hotels. So that was all my money what I had, and then I was looking for an investor, and everyone likes my idea and wants to invest. But it's very important that you find the right person. Not only a person who gives you money and yeah, make it happen, but also a person that gives you some advice. So that's very important. So like your teacher, for example. So, but it is expensive, and you need to find the right person. But I have a good concept, so everyone wants to invest. But
There, do you find them?
on Google. Nee, you are in this. He was in a bank. It's called Credits. Credits. Does anyone know Credits? No. Credits is in a investment company in Almelo, in the Netherlands, and it's not. Yeah. Who asked me the question? Ah, sorry, I looked there. In Almelo, and yeah, you find it everywhere. If you want searching money, you enter it on Google, you find a lot of research, and then you give your business plan to them, and they will look at it. So it's very easy. It's not very difficult from, hey, I need money, who gives me money? No, of yourself, and look what happens. A lot of questions.
Yeah, I was wondering, because as far as I understood, if I understood correctly, you saw the pizza machine somewhere else, and then you decided to implement it here, correct?
Yeah.
So did you first have to get in contact with the person that well, had the idea to create a pizza machine originally?
Yeah, it is a little bit. First, it was my idea to have an umbrella vending machine, because it was a lot of rain in Groningen, so I needed an umbrella. But the shops are closed, so I need a vending machine. But there was some students, maybe here, who had stolen my ID. So I was, yeah. And then I saw, when I was in Groningen in the center, a lot of people eating pizza, and I thought I need a pizza vending machine. Then I saw a lot of companies, too, who has pizza vending machine, and then I create my own vending machine. So it's not that I start a vending machine, but I create own vending machine, bring it to the Netherlands. Can I go on?
Yeah, shall we also introduce Semme? Because then you can
There are a lot
ask.
of questions. So
There are a lot of questions, so that, but you stay here because then they can ask multiple questions. So next story will be by Semme Moolenaar. Semme Moolenaar is you could say a serial entrepreneur, because he's already in his second business, at least, or going into. So his first business, so he's managing director and co-founder of two companies, Bandzoeker.nl and Repeat Diagnostic Europe's. There's two very different titles, because the first one, Bandzoeker, is a leading Dutch booking agency in the music industry. It represents hundreds of European bands, covering semi-professional as well as professional artists and bands. So that was the first business. And the second one, which is now under development, I think, is Repeat Diagnostic, provides clients around the world with high quality telomere linked diagnostic measurement services. And through our telomere testing, they provide important diagnostic information that supports decision making for physicians to monitor and improve the health of their patients. So medical technology. And he also works for the business generator Groningen, which we mentioned earlier, where he commercializes the knowledge and technology in life sciences, and sometimes other areas, from the Rug and UMCG, doing technology scouting, intellectual property strategy, licensing, and supporting spin-out companies. So you could say an experienced entrepreneurial person. Well, Semme, tell a bit about your personal history.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I started studying biology in 2003, and while I was starting to study biology, I actually played in a music band, and so I actually made a reservation for the Utrecht University, but my band was here in Groningen, so the last day I decided to actually stay here in Groningen and start biology here. But as music bands, it's the same as companies. They have a life cycle, so at some point you get coalition and then it explodes. So that happened in my second year of my education. And then I thought, well, I know how the taxes work in the music industry, so why wouldn't I set up an online booking agency for bands, music bands? So I called one friend of mine who was able to make a website, so he programmed it, and I called another friend who was studying at the Rock Academy in Tilburg for some credibility, right? And so we set up this music platform, and I just copy-pasted all cover bands of the whole Netherlands on it. Didn't ask them anything, and I put a marketing budget on it, and the next day I was called by Rai Amsterdam, and they wanted to hire a band of ours, so I called the band, of course, and the band said, yeah, sure, I want a gig. Oh, by the way, can I put you on my website? Yeah, that was okay. So, so that was Bandzoeker. Then I finished, so Bandzoeker was going well. I had 2 full-time people working for me during my studies, and when I was finishing my master's, there were still 2 people working full-time on it. And then I decided, or I had to decide, am I going to pursue my passion of life sciences, right? I studied molecular biology, or am I going to work full-time in my online booking agency, which was really fun as well. So at some point I thought, well, I studied for 6 years, so I better do something with it. So I decided to pursue a career also in life sciences, and I wanted to become a life science entrepreneur. But it was a different ballgame, of course, because you have to know knowledge about intellectual property and about finance, licensing negotiations, big agreements. So it was very much more complicated compared to Bandzoeker.nl. So I thought, maybe I don't just start a company in life science, maybe I learn a little bit more about intellectual property, more about finance, negotiations, licensing agreements, etc. So I actually applied for an internship at the business generator Groningen. That was in 2009, so I got it, and afterwards I was able to land a position, so I got a job. First it was mainly screening technologies and try to decide whether you want to patent them, and right now, so I'm working for 6 years for the University of Groningen, I'm more involved in licensing, so the back of the process actually. So Repeat Diagnostics was set up in 2013, and actually it was a technology from Canada, Vancouver, and it's telomere measurement. I won't get too technical right now, but the bottom line is basically that you have people with very rare diseases, 1 in a million, and you want to diagnose them. You can send a blood sample to Vancouver, and then you can measure the telomeres, and then we know whether you have this condition or not. But this blood has to arrive freshly at this point. So you had one hub in Vancouver, Canada, which is only working for the North American market, of course. And Europe was not able to do any measurements because the blood has to arrive freshly within 24 hours. So I decided to set up that company based on that technology here in Groningen. Somehow at the end of the day, it became a company in Aachen, Germany, so which was also okay, just for the European market, right? And but after 2 years, well, things became a little bit harder by the relationships between Europe and Canada, and there was a lot of management, and we all decided it would be better that I was going for a next adventure. So I sold my shares last summer, so I'm actually not involved in this company anymore. No. Okay. And in the meanwhile, I'm preparing 2 companies also in life sciences. Now I cannot tell you too much about it because it's confidential, but next year then you will be able to see it if you speak to me again or you see my LinkedIn page. And another thing, I just set up with my girlfriend a cat cafe in Groningen. So in 10 days it's opening actually in the Oude Ebbingestraat, so 1 minute from the Martini Tower. And you have a question already.
You're my neighbor.
Really? Are you kidding me? I know, I recognize you. You were already smiling, right? So we walk back together maybe. Yeah, so I live in Agricolastraat, and she's my neighbor. You study medicine, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And she wants to import a very nice Costa Rican food.
Ah, actually she brought me some Costa Rican coffee with her. So when they, yeah, so very nice coffee by the way. So yeah, so a cat cafe, which is totally different again. So Bandzoeker.nl and a cat cafe, which my girlfriend is mainly doing, but I'm helping her in the background and investing a little bit. And so some consumer companies and some business companies, life sciences, cats, music, all kind of fun products, and so that's me in a nutshell. Okay. So if you have any questions. It still exists, so every Thursday in the afternoon I walk to the Zuiderpark, office of Bandzoeker.nl. I do my working meeting and have maybe some vacancies with interns or that kind of stuff. So I all compress it in 4 hours a week, and that's very fun, of course, because you just come out of the test tubes and the life science, and then you walk to this other building, and then it's just about music bands. So yeah, it's a nice change during the week.
Is the cat cafe in Amsterdam also yours, or did you just
No.
the idea?
Yeah. So in Tokyo and in all big cities. So Groningen is of course not a big city. You see in all the big cities that they target tourists mainly. But here in Groningen we're going to target students, and mainly female students are the target audience. Not because of me, they just like cats more, I guess. So.
Was this a protected idea? Like
No, not protected. No, not at all. So no intellectual property on it. So you can start your own if you like it. At the back.
So you said that about the telomere diagnostics venture. You said that it is disease 1 in a million, right?
Yeah, aplastic
So,
anemia.
How did you know that people are going to pay for it? I mean, what was the cost of the setup, and what was the cost which you would get from people? How did you come up with a business plan?
Yeah, so I actually just copied the business model from Canada. And the founder of this technology was also my partner here in Europe, so that was easy. Just copied the business model. So it was 400 euros for a 2-panel test, 800 euros for a 6-panel test. So these are two different products for different situations. I don't want to get in too much detail. But that was the earning model. And actually the physicians and the specialists in the hospitals, they have some secret budgets from which they can pay these kind of costs. So I hadn't any problems with insurance or anything like that. So there was just a budget that they could pay it from. So pretty easy compared to talking with health insurance companies, etc. So it was pretty straightforward business model, just selling this test. And if you would like to get a report with this test, we can also send you a report, and there was 250 euros extra. So that was just a very straightforward business model.
So did you talk to insurance companies also? For example, you have to be licensed for such diagnostics also?
You have to be licensed, yeah, you're right. So there was a small trick. If you set it up, you can say it's a research use only. So you just provide them the data, and that as long as the physician interprets the data, you don't do anything wrong, but at some point you want to have a license. Also in the States we need CLIA, which is, especially in New York, is very hard to obtain. So you have your licenses, and everything is registered. You have to measure the temperature of your fridge, etc. 3 times a day, just to make sure that everything is correct, of course. So a lot of administration, also operational stuff, but that was not my job. I was just building this business, setting up this online platform, talking to some key opinion leaders to try to really get it going in Europe. So.
Okay, so you basically just connected the service provider and the customer, right?
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Did you ever get in the position that you got so involved with new projects that your old project or your basic project kind of got damaged, or that people were upset that you don't take care of it?
That's a good question. I should ask my employees. I don't know. I can imagine, because I can imagine that if you're working in an organization and your boss basically is having a new adventure, that you think, well, does it still have its attention? But I really like all of those projects just the same, actually. So I think that I guess that they would feel that, and that they would still be as enthusiastic as I would be. So,
and you said you have a fixed schedule that they can rely on. So
yeah.
you structure yourself.
And those 2 employees that I have now for bensuper.nl, for instance, I have them one next month 6 years, and the other one 5.5 years. They are very independent. They are the experts in booking bands right now. So yeah.
Would you not say that it's difficult to basically have to kind of juggle between different projects that you have going on, or different businesses?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Or?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of focus, which is very important. So I like to work very effectively, so I don't think long when I'm making a decision. So that's the way that I like to work. Even if it's a bad decision, it doesn't matter, because going back all the time doesn't make sense. Just make sure that you go forward, and every now and then you just adjust it a little bit. That's my style of working. That's how my brains work. So for me, it's very relaxed to work that way. So better than just having one thing that I should have to think all the time of, I think. So what I do is I set it up. I do the strategy, business development, etc. Some marketing, but operations I never do. So.
Do you feel like the different businesses have affected each other in a positive way that you have learned?
Yeah, I think so, because being able to sell a consumer product is very nice if you do business-to-business negotiations, for instance, because you can connect better with your audience, for instance. So I think it's an advantage to work both in life sciences and both in well, how would you call it, music and cats even, or it doesn't matter, as long as the product is fun and you are working with a lot of different customers. I think that's a very rich experience to deal with a lot of different people that you want to sell a product to.
Yeah.
I'm curious, really, how do you see that? How do you make decisions, and is it similar to with you, also making relatively quick decisions and just go and see where the flow takes you, or how do you do it?
Now first I do a lot of research about everything. Also if I, for example, Mr. Ouwerdag, I search you on Google on what kind of person are you and what are your interests. So I do a lot of research, and also when I have an important conversation with an investor or something like that, I always do research about the person, about the company. So, and if you speak with each other, then you can be at the same level, and if it goes bad, you can say, hey, you like dogs, let's talk about dogs. So, for example, so I do a lot of research, and before I do anything, I think about twice, maybe, twice, maybe 5, but not like Semme, do it directly. So always keep observation and a lot of research.
Yeah, but so you do research, you look into, also when you meet persons, are you also linking in very quickly with LinkedIn and that kind of stuff?
Yes, I also sent you a LinkedIn.
Yeah,
so
except your advice.
Yes, so I know everything about Semme.
What he says on LinkedIn, huh?
Yes, but also on Google. So I know about the cat cafe. So give him please applause about the great concept in Groningen. So it's a and that in Groningen, not in Rotterdam or PA, but in Groningen.
Gaat iets boven Groningen.
Exactly.
Yeah, some questions there. Go ahead.
I have a question to both of you. What made you think that your ideas could become reality, and what is your main motivation behind being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
So Bandzoeker was something that kind of just happened, as I told you. So I just went for it, and I had actually just put a little bit money on it and do it with your own time. That's never scary, right? Especially when you were still studying, it's not that huge risk, I think. So that was, I just really wanted to have a company, a platform to make business with, and the product didn't really matter as long as it was a nice product. So selling music for a party, that I thought that would be nice. So yeah, it was for me just an intrinsic drive to set up a platform to do stuff with. I think that's basically it, and it was not a big risk. It didn't feel like a big risk, so I just went for it, and then suddenly went okay, and it happened just like that.
For me, it's different. I'm always looking. I have always business ideas. Also, everywhere. If I drive in the car or I'm at school, I always have business ideas, and I write it up on my little book. And the quote is, "If you never try, you will never know." And yeah, that is the truth. So I always write it up right here, and then I have a lot of business ideas. So and then I make it. Then I go look after 2 weeks if it's a good idea or not. So I have a lot of business ideas like umbrella vending machine, then umbrella, what in the summer. So you need to be realistic.
So maybe follow up. Do we have already a next idea for the next business?
Yes, yes. But
you don't have to tell it.
Are here some investors or not?
A crowd, eh?
Crowd.
That's more than days.
In money or in beer or something?
You never know. To find out.
I have a question for both of them. I would like to ask you first, in your telomere diagnostic company, why did you sell your shares? Couldn't you be a silent shareholder and still benefit from it without having to sell away your innovation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought it would be the best option because so there were little struggles, and I was calling a lot with Canada, and after 20 incidents you think, well, maybe this is structural, right? And so for me, the fun, that's the main drive, so you can keep your shares and clamp your stuff in this company, and then it has to drag you with it. But I thought, just get it away, next adventure, that's better for the company also. So, and for me it felt as I actually obtained my goal, because my goal was to set up this platform, this company in Aachen somehow, and to make the first sales. So that all happened, and afterwards I sold my shares. So for me it felt like I succeeded. But you are right, if I would have been only focused on money, I would just sit on my shares, of course. But that's not my drive, no.
For you, my question was it the first time you wrote a business proposal for the vending machines when you were searching for investors? And if so, what were your challenges writing one?
What was your first question?
If it was the first time you wrote a business proposal when you were applying for investors, and if it was your first time, what were your challenges?
First of all, it wasn't a big challenge because I'm a young entrepreneur, so yeah, they think, the investor think, is he serious? A piece of vending machine in his age, is it real? So most of the time they call me, hey, is it real what you have? Do you want really a piece of vending machine? And you go to secondary school, how can you do it? Yeah, so that's, yeah. And what was your second question?
It was your first time to write.
Yeah, it was my first.
Do you have trouble kind of being taken seriously in that way by those investors because of your age or because of your new ideas? Maybe?
Yeah, the first time, but the second time, and right now there are a lot of investors, so they now I'm very serious, also with my business, and they see my profit, and then they think, oh shit, what if I was the first one? I had also a profit, so yeah, now it's serious.
Back.
I have a question for you. You told you have you employ two people, one for 5.5 and one for 6 a year.
Yeah, in benzoeker.nl.
Yes, it almost sounds like a partner. How do you find those people?
Trial and error. So it cost me a lot of money, the people before also, and after a while, so I have had, for benzoeker.nl, I've had like 14 people in total, always a team of 2. And one time I almost went bankrupt. It was in 2009 because one was consuming the whole marketing budget but didn't make any sales. So then it goes really fast downhill. So that was exciting because it was the time that I just had my master's. So now I have a company suddenly that's going bankrupt almost. So, but I learned a lot of that experience as well. So yeah.
So how do you manage your people?
So what is important, I think, to know, so I don't know that all the time, I know that since a few years, but I try to educate myself about this management of employees. And you have a life cycle of employees, S1 to S4 with the matching management styles. So when an employee is starting to work for you, his motivation is very high, but his skills are not very high. So that means that after a while, his motivation goes back, but his skills grow a little bit. Right? Because he's struggling and just making sure that he's trying to make it salesy in my case. Then you have S3 management style, and these are people that are both have good morale, so they're motivated again and they're very skillful. And then you have S4, these people are very skillful, but now they don't like their work anymore because they do it for ages. So you have to adjust your management style on the life cycle of your employee, and it's very easy to recognize where they are at. So when they are very motivated, but they are not performing, then you know what kind of management style they need. But if they are very skillful, but they're not motivated anymore, then you have to challenge them with new projects, etc. And in a small company, that's hard somehow, but it's also very well possible. So we every year we have 2 or 3 big projects. So they make the bookings, right, for weddings and for parties of companies, etc. So that's their daily stuff. but I make sure, and that's always also growing the company and optimizing, and so I always make sure that we have 2-3 big projects every year that they are really excited about, and that's the reason I think that they that they're somehow stuck with Benson Quidot&Nel, so which is great.
I have still a question for Rudy. Is because I was wondering a bit about investors were a bit doubting about if you're serious or not. But this company in France was making these vending machines. Were they taking you serious?
Yeah, it's directly
and how come?
a tip for you. Don't say your age in an email or on phone. Don't say your age. That is very important. Because I say age. This is wrong. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Good.
Leeftijd, correct.
Yeah,
Age, yeah.
exactly. Don't say your age because they don't take you serious, and so I go to France, and I had a presentation in my head in French. I could better speak French or German than English, so you see. And I say, I want your piece of vending machine, a completely business plan, and I had an investor, and I was prepared, so I had a lot of confidence because it was in the French language, and French is one of my favorite languages. So I had a lot of confidence, and then I told my plan, and they were very enthusiastic, exactly. So, but first I did a lot of research at people. So always research your speaker, like Semme or like me. Do a lot of research, and then you are on the same level. So that is tip for you.
Okay, for both of you, one more golden tip for this audience, and then we'll, I think, have time for a drink.
Don't think too much and just go.
It's very good advice to a group of academics.
I'm an academic myself.
Yeah, true.
Maybe not.
And for me, it's this: you never try, you will never know. So please try, because you will never know. That's my tip.